Let you know there that one thing that interests us is hearing from the White House that when it comes to Dodd-Frank, nothing has been ruled in or out as far as whether it should be junked entirely or just dramatically revamped. The fellow said at the very least it has to be fixed because despite the best intentions of its creators, it could be laying the groundwork for some problems down the road. His name is Steve Schwarzman, the co-founder and the chairman of Blackstone Group, the private equity giant. He joins us and was one of these who called for this meeting today of these powerful corporate titans. Steve, very good to have you. Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
What kind of consensus was there in that room on Dodd-Frank and on a law that many have argued has gotten too complicated? I believe you have said almost from the moment the ink was dry that despite good intentions, it could invite problems. What was the consensus in there?
Well, the consensus in the room, without referring to anyone in particular, is there need to be some significant modifications. For example, liquidity in the system is down in large part because Dodd-Frank prohibits what were traditional market makers from really doing that with the confusion between market making and proprietary trading. And that's one of many areas. And one of the things that was noted is that even if you modify or eliminate Dodd-Frank, there are still the same regulatory people there with that philosophy. And so even if you got rid of that law, you have to address the managerial components of enforcing laws and regulations.
Do you still believe that if we ever had another financial crisis or anything approaching the magnitude of 2007, 2008, that a Bank of America, let's say Citigroup, were on the brink, that we wouldn't rescue it? I mean, Barney Frank had famously said that there is no longer too big to fail. Is that true?
Well, I think that was the theory behind a lot of the re-regulation that happened in the 2008 to 2010 period. One would have to see in the future. There are certain types of scale issues without, sort of enabling companies to just take risk where would endanger a system. I think it's actually, in a practical sense, very hard to have a living will with companies of a certain scale. I think it's a good idea to go through that exercise, and I think it's a good idea to have regulation of a type that was not in place in that 2005 to 2007 period. But we've all learned a lot, both financial companies and regulators.
Let me ask you, I mean, you were immersed in the meetings, I'm sure not watching the market tick for tick, nor do you in general. But when the president said, I'm going to follow up with tax and health care bills soon, the markets, which were already up about 25 points, soared over 150, now up 175. I guess on the perception or belief that we're going to see tax reform, we're going to see tax cuts, and in fact, they could be married to corporate tax reform as well. Did that come up? Is that the sense that you have? Is that what you'd like to see as well?
Well, I think there was generally a very forward-leaning, positive sense that a lot of the important things that have been articulated, like tax reform and deregulation and sort of different types of trade approaches would be occurring, and that they would lead to good outcomes. I think this group, from just being at the meeting, the president in particular, but also the other people from the administration who were there, were basically pretty much everyone, certainly from the White House, want to achieve a higher rate of growth. They want to have more people with higher paying jobs. They want to make sure that people have a good shot, and everything gets looked at through that lens. And so, as we suggested, probably over the period of 2 hours, at least 100 different initiatives, there was enormous alertness and enthusiasm, and yes, of course, that makes sense. So that by the time we finished, the issue is really implementation of some things that are very obvious that can help everyone in America.